Well, hello, everybody. It is right at 4 o'clock, and I want to go ahead and get started. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. If you can hear me okay, please let me know in the chat box. All right, good. Thank you guys so much. And I really appreciate you all being here. This is the first in our 4 o'clock series that we're going to be doing about once a month. And I really appreciate you all joining us. I had several people who asked me if they could share the invitation with other people in their firm or even people outside of their firm. And I just want to let you know, I always welcome that. I should have probably said that in the email invitation to you all, but I just wanted you to know that I definitely want you to share the invitation if you can. So I also wanted to let you know that today we're going to be doing a lot of screen sharing. And so as we toggle back and forth between the PowerPoint and the LinkedIn profile that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you my LinkedIn profile, I went back and forth trying to decide, quite frankly, if I should use my profile or someone else's, but I decided if I was going to be critical, I could be more critical of myself than anyone else. So I hope you will bear with me on that. I also just want to let you know, for those of you who don't know me, because I know we had some registrants who are not necessarily as familiar with me. I am T. Hoffman. I am a lawyer by trade. I now work with lawyers and law firms all over the United States and Canada, helping them become more successful. And I do that in a variety of ways, but I provide a lot of coaching to lawyers one-on-one. I also provide training and law firm retreats. And I'm just really passionate, even though I know that's a buzzword that's probably somewhat overused, but I am very passionate about helping lawyers and law firms operate better and become better. And so I hope you will enjoy today. Please use the chat box. I may not be able to read all of the chat, but I am going to save the chat. I'm going to open everything up for questions at the end of this presentation, but please always know that you are not bothering me if you have questions. And if you're like me, that you think of an hour after this presentation and you think, I wish I would have asked this one thing. Don't hesitate to ask me any questions that you have. I would be delighted to answer your questions for you. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the PowerPoint presentation, and we'll get started. All right, I'm hoping everybody can see the PowerPoint presentation, and if you cannot, please let me know that you cannot. Today, really the four things we're going to talk about today are the things that I think are must-haves in your LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn, as you know, has been around for quite a long time, but it has grown exponentially over the years. And I'm going to explain to you why it is so important for you to have an outstanding LinkedIn profile now, really more than ever. So, hold on here. All right, so we're going to talk about why LinkedIn matters. What makes your profile stand out. And we're going to talk about those four sections that I mentioned in the title of this presentation today. Then we're going to talk about what to post and when, because I do see some people who don't necessarily post what they should post, and they don't post it when they should post it. And that's all really important in getting traction on LinkedIn. And then the biggest concern I hear from people is, I just don't have time to do one more thing. And I totally get that. So we're going to talk about how to make the most of LinkedIn to maximize your operation there. So let's start out with a little poll. And what I'm going to do is ask you to answer two questions. One is, do you feel like you fully utilize LinkedIn? And this is a yes or no or not sure question. If you don't use LinkedIn at all, you may not be sure, or you haven't used it in a long time. And then the second is, what is keeping you from utilizing LinkedIn? So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to answer this question. All right, good. So 86% of you say that you don't fully utilize LinkedIn, and this program is exactly targeted at you. 7% of you say you do. So the 7% that say they do, I hope you'll be willing at the end of the program to give some additional tips, because I'm certainly not the LinkedIn guru. I do think I do a good job with LinkedIn, but I'm certain there are things that you all may know that can be done that I don't mention in this presentation. So what's keeping you from fully utilizing LinkedIn? Well, lack of time is 38%, lack of training 56%, and you don't believe it's effective is 13%. So I'm going to talk about those things too. So I appreciate you guys participating in the poll. That's very, very helpful. All right, we're going to shut that down and talk about why LinkedIn is so important, especially for lawyers. And I don't care whether you're a lawyer inside of a firm, or you're a lawyer in-house, or you're a lawyer who's out looking for another opportunity. LinkedIn is really important. And it is important because it is the most widely used platform by lawyers, a social platform by lawyers. Now, there are other platforms, quite frankly, that are becoming more and more important, but we're only going to focus on LinkedIn today. All right. So this survey was done for 2020, and it was done at the end of 2019 for 2020, but it came out that 68% of in-house counsel use LinkedIn at least once a week. And why are they using it? Well, they're using it to connect with professional colleagues. Some of you are in-house, and you probably know that it can be somewhat isolating in-house. You may have 2 or 3 other people that work with you, but you're used to working at a big firm where you had lots of other colleagues and you interacted with people in court, you know, just walking down the street, and now you're out on a campus somewhere. So you kind of feel like you're out on an island. Some of you that are in law firms, for example, you want to make sure that your profile gets noticed by those in-house counsels that are actually looking at LinkedIn on a regular basis. And then lawyers and in-house lawyers and all kinds of people are out looking at LinkedIn to find professional information. In other words, sharing who's doing what. So when I think about LinkedIn, I think about it as if I'm going to a cocktail party with a lot of people who I've either met or want to meet. And when I think about what I want to have on LinkedIn, I want to have things that are tailored to make them want to talk to me and get to know me and understand what I do and what I can provide. So as you think about your LinkedIn profile, I want you to think about it somewhat in that way. You're at a professional networking event. It just happens to be online. All right, so that's a great way for you to think about it. From a B2B standpoint, business to business, LinkedIn is the most used business-to-business digital marketing platform for social media that's out there. Now, Twitter is very close, and I'm not, again, going to talk about Twitter or Facebook for business or YouTube, but I will tell you we're going to spend some time on LinkedIn. These other platforms are important, and there is a way to tie them all together, but that's for another day. So just know that it is an important thing, and I'm hoping that those of you all who don't think it's effective will understand the power of LinkedIn as we move through this process. Now, for those of you all who don't use LinkedIn on a regular basis, there are a couple of things that you need to do before you start actually playing with your LinkedIn profile. And the very first thing I tell people to do is to make sure they have set their privacy settings in such a way that when they go to make changes to their profile, not everybody in their network can see all of those changes. So I'm going to share my screen with you quickly and show you what I mean. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up to this box where your picture is, and you'll have a little picture right here. And that little picture says me, and there's a drop down arrow. You're going to click on that drop down arrow, and you're going to go down to settings and privacy. And when that opens up, you will be on the privacy tab. You're going to cursor down in that privacy tab. So get a notebook out, guys, and write this stuff down because you won't remember it. I am going to send you the slides. and the recording. So you will get an opportunity to walk through this. But I want to make sure that you're looking at this. So where it says share job changes, educational changes, and work anniversaries, you want to make sure that says no. So see right here, I can change it to yes, I want to do it, or no, I don't want to do it. So we want to make sure it says no. Why is that so important? Well, it's important because if you do not have that setting correct on your LinkedIn profile and you go in and make a change today and you make a change next week and you make everyone who you're connected to is seeing that you made all of these changes, and it drives them crazy and they'll stop looking at your feed. So just make sure that you're doing the right things to get started on LinkedIn. All right, now I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint and stop sharing with you right now and go back to our PowerPoint and to our next slide. So remember to change that privacy setting. Now, we talked about 4 things, right? 4 big things. And I can't tell you how many LinkedIn profiles I see that are bad from the get-go. So the very top section of your LinkedIn profile, that is the first thing people see. So they're going to put into the search bar, Johnny Rocket. Let's pretend your name is Johnny Rocket, and they're going to find you. And when they see a bad picture, it's almost like, you know, you get one chance to make a really good first impression. So if you choose to use an unprofessional picture, this particular individual is an attractive person, but let's face it, she took the picture at a party. Or if you choose to use a picture that is 10 years old, or if you choose to use no picture, just know that people who are viewing your profile will not take you very seriously. So you want to make sure that you're using a professional picture. Now, most of you who are lawyers have headshots. That headshot should take up about 60% of the circle. And I'm going to show you all of this in just a minute. But just know that you want your headshot to not, your face not to be filling the circle. You actually want your entire head to be in the circle. And I'll show you what I mean. You also don't want a picture of your dog or the beach or whatever. Just make sure you have a nice professional headshot. That is your first chance to make that really professional impression on people. Then you've got your background photo. And I'm going to show you an example of this in just a few minutes. But I can't tell you how many people have the molecular biologist background photo. And by that, I mean they have behind them the traditional LinkedIn launch photo in the background. Now, why LinkedIn chose to use a molecular structure in the background, I have no idea. I figure some techie person actually thought that up and thought it was a good idea. But I will tell you that it is not a good idea to leave it that way, because that is your second chance to give them an impression of who you are and what you're all about. So if you're a trial lawyer, for example, you might have a picture of the courthouse. If you're at a particular firm, you might have your firm's logo. If you're a construction lawyer, you may have construction equipment in the background. There are all kinds of things that you can do with your photo. For me, I have a picture of the Charlotte skyline. I identify myself with where I am. There are tons of things that you can do, and you can change this all the time. Your LinkedIn profile is a living document, so that's really important for you to understand, and you can change it on an ongoing basis. Your headline statement. All right, so if you say, I'm a partner at Smith, Daniels, and Roquefort, okay, that tells me nothing. All right, so what is what I say when I see that. Or I'm an attorney. That tells me nothing. You want that headline statement to be the space where you identify what you do, not your title. What you do, not your title. So if you say general counsel, that doesn't tell me a lot. But if you say innovative, business-oriented, energetic, smart, blah, 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 general counsel at so-and-so, so-and-so, that gives me some differentiators. And I'm not saying you would necessarily use those words, but it at least tells me a little bit about how you see yourself. And it's okay to use adjectives. This is not a time to be shy and hold back, okay? You may hold back a little bit if you were in person, but you're not going to hold back on this LinkedIn headline statement. And I'm going to show you some things in just a second. Next thing on this top section of your LinkedIn profile is your contact information. Again, I see so many people who don't have their contact information fully filled out. And that is a big mistake. It's easy to fill it out. And the reason you want it to be filled out is so people don't have to do multiple clicks. No one wants to find you, Johnny Rocket, and then have to find your email address, your phone number, your firm's website, all of that stuff. If you can put all of that in one place, you're actually saving them from having to search for you, because the chances of them searching for you, if you don't have that information, go down exponentially. All right, so let's take a look at, we'll take a look at a profile here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so again, this is a profile of a young woman. She is not a lawyer, and I'm hoping everybody can see this. This particular woman's name is Candy Robbins. Now, Candy is a member representative, so she's out selling memberships for the National Federation of Independent Businesses. This is not a professional LinkedIn profile picture, in my opinion. You all may think it's fine, but I would much rather see her further back, a little further back, and see what she actually looks like versus a picture like this. Now, it's not a bad picture. She's very attractive, but it is not necessarily the picture or the image I think her company might want her to portray as a membership representative. This is the molecular structure background that I'm talking about, and I hope you guys can see that. That is not something that really, enables her to stand out at all. All right. Now, her contact information. She's only got her LinkedIn contact information on here. And again, that just doesn't make her stand out. All right, so we're going to stop sharing her profile, and we're going to go over to my profile. And again, I'm sharing mine because you all can be as critical as you want to of mine. All right, now, if you'll look, I have put mine in a mode where I can make changes. So as you look, here's the picture of the Charlotte skyline. So when you go in and want to change your molecular structure, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to your page, and you're going to try to click on this little pencil, and this little pencil will allow you to add a background photo. All right, you can crop, you can adjust, you can upload a picture. I use pictures from iStock, but you can upload pictures, logos, whatever you want to do. All right, now as you cursor down through here, you're going to see my headline statement says that I'm a coach for lawyers, leadership, life, wellness, and career coach, a law firm trainer, keynote, and retreat speaker. All of the things when I introduced myself, I told you I did, are in my headline statement. It's not my title. I am a lawyer, but it does not say that I'm a lawyer on there. This is what I do as a lawyer, okay? I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, if you have more than 500 connections, 500 is a magic number for LinkedIn. And I'm not sure why, but for whatever reason, on LinkedIn, when you get over 500 connections, you start getting more relevant connections. So always be looking for connections. And I could spend a lot of time showing you how to do that effectively, but we don't have time for that today. But I do want to make sure that you know 500 is a magic number. But there's no magic to those connections unless they're relevant to you and you are relevant to them. So get rid of the Xerox salesman, get rid of the financial planners, get rid of all the life insurance people that you connected with early on in your LinkedIn past. Hide those connections. You want to be connected to people who want to hear from you, want to be in your professional network, who you feel can offer you value, and in turn, you can offer them some substantive value as well. Now, your contact information. As you can see, the contact information that I have filled out has my LinkedIn profile, my website, my phone number, my address, my email address, and my Twitter account. Now you can add, I think, a couple of more things on here, but that's really enough for them to get in touch with me. And then it tells you, you can add a section about what services that you can provide. So here are the services that I can provide, and that helps with your searchability. All right. Now, where it says add profile section, here are all the profile sections that you can add. So you've got your introduction, your about section, and this is your introduction. Your about section we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Your featured section, and we're not going to talk about that, but I am going to show you that. Your background, which is your experience, your skills, which, believe it or not, are important for searchability, accomplishments, additional information, supported languages. All right, now let's go back to the PowerPoint real quick. All right, so I'm going to, whoops, go back here and come here and hit share. All right, now, so start at the top and make sure all of this is filled out and that it is filled out correctly. Your about section. Your about section is that second section, and it is really where you're telling a story of who you are, all right, what you can do, why you do it, why you're unique. People want to know, why would I choose you? What problem can you solve for me? What problem can you solve for me, and why are you the best person to solve it? All right. Now you can do this in multiple ways. You can do it by bullet points. You can do it in a paragraph format, which is what I chose to do. I always recommend you do it in first person. The reason I recommend that is because, as I said earlier, you're at a professional cocktail party. And so you're talking about yourself. So as you talk about yourself, and again, don't be shy, as you talk about yourself, think about what makes you stand out and what makes you unique. Is it your, 25 years of experience? Is it your 30 jury trials that you've done? Is it your 15 years as in-house counsel focusing on a specific area in the company? Is it your ability to negotiate technology contracts, for example? What is it that makes you stand out? You want to make sure that you put that in there. Be professional, but personalize it somewhat. I enjoy working with people who are creative, innovative, analytical, whatever, and again, do not be shy. So as we look at other LinkedIn profiles, let me show you. Again, we'll go back and look at Candy's. So her about information says that she's energetic, well-spoken, creative, dedicated, consistent, and competitive. Those are great, great adjectives. And it could be, for example, for her, that describes her at this age and stage. But it's always good to have a little more information than that. Believe it or not, you have 1,300, I think, characters or words that you can use in this particular section. And everything that you use in this section helps with your searchability in LinkedIn. So when people are searching for a specific person to do a specific thing, the more that you mention that specific thing within your profile, the more you're going to be able to be found on LinkedIn. And again, the back end of LinkedIn, their search engine optimization is incredible. In fact, I would challenge you guys to Google yourself if you have a LinkedIn profile. I almost guarantee your LinkedIn profile, even if it's a terrible profile, will come up almost always on the first page of your Google search. So it's important because then people will click on that and they will look at your profile. So let's go back over and look again at my profile. Whoops, sorry. And when you go down here, I say, I'm passionate about helping law firms make the changes necessary to become more profitable, strategic, and focused. As a lawyer who has practiced in a firm, so I'm saying I'm a lawyer. That makes me unique as a consultant to law firms, because there are a lot of people out there who are law firm consultants that are not lawyers. and as a GC, and a chief business development officer. And I go through all of these kinds of things I've done, but to some people that may seem repetitive, because if you cursor down, you will see that that's also in my experience section. Having said that, you may not have a chance for people to read your experience section. So when you talk about yourself in the about section, you want to entice them to read more and keep going down your profile. All right. So that is important. What makes you unique? All right. You provide resources. I provide resources and ongoing support. You know, anything that makes you a little bit different is really important in your profile. Now, this about section can be changed by simply, again, hitting on the pencil on the right and starting to write about yourself. I would encourage you, highly recommend, in fact, that you write this in a Word document and copy and paste it into the about section so you can check the grammar. You can even send it to someone else to read and review it. I think that's really important. Those things are really important. And you always want to hit save. Did you see me just hit save? That's important. If you don't hit save, it won't save your changes in LinkedIn. So anytime you make a change, hit save, because it gets frustrating to do it multiple times. All right, now again, I've said this before, but you can use bullet points in this particular section if you choose to do so. Now, I mentioned the featured section earlier. Many people have not added this particular section to their LinkedIn profile. I can't tell you how many people tell me, oh, I saw your presentation or listened to your webinar on LinkedIn. And why can they do that? They can do that because they can see these programs on my featured section. So if you again will go back up to here, add a profile section, you will see featured. If you click on that, you can add a featured section. And what do you want to put in your featured section? Well, you want to put in any articles that you've written, co-authored, podcast, webinars, white papers, anything like that that you've put in there, you want to put in this particular spot. So you can see I've got a variety of different things in this particular area. Again, it does draw people to your LinkedIn profile. So that is an important thing for you guys to know as well. All right, now we are going to go back over to the PowerPoint, and we're going to talk about number 3. All right, your experience matters. And I see people who put in their experience section that they worked at Dotson, Parker, Shipley, and Bim from 99 until 2004. And then the next one's, you know, experiences. I worked at the Department of Justice from 94 to 99. But they don't put any bullet points or explain what they did while they were there. And you have an opportunity to do that. So don't shortcut yourself. Again, it may be redundant because you may have already put some of this in your about section. That's okay. All right. It's okay to be redundant. But remember, you're having this conversation. So as you think about a professional networking event, well, what did you do at the Department of Justice? Well, I did this, 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 and this. That's what you want to have on the experience section. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that. Now, this is a survey. It was also done in January of 2020 and came out that said this is what in-house counsels put on their experience section. So they have management experience, litigation experience, corporate law, legal writing. Most of us as lawyers all have legal writing experience, and then you can see it goes on down from there. But all those things are important. In-house counsels that are on this webinar, you know, those are the things that in-house counsels have. Traditionally, lawyers have said in their bullet points, they have legal knowledge about certain things. They are attentive to detail, and this could go in your about section again and your experience section. They have the ability to analyze things. They're persuasive. They use sound judgment. I certainly hope you use sound judgment. They have good writing skills, diligence, due diligence, intellect, work ethic, responsive, great client care. Okay, all of those things are traditional skills that all lawyers should have. All right. Having said that, I think that for most people, those skills are kind of the kinds of things that people expect you to have. They expect you to have those skills. So what you really want to emphasize now in 2020 are some of the things they may not expect you to have or may not have expected you to have done. So for example, if you received project management training and a project management certification or a Lean Six Sigma certification, you want to make sure that is on your LinkedIn profile. If you managed a group of 25 other lawyers as a practice group leader, you want to put that on your LinkedIn profile. If you know how to analyze budgets and build a budget, a litigation budget, and stay within that budget, you want to put that on your LinkedIn profile. All right. You're a team builder. You know about technology. You know, you are great at managing your time and staying within budget, for example. All of these things are really important in 2020. So some of the traditional skills, I'm not saying they're not important, but these things like being innovative and creative and understanding industries and things like that are really, really important as well. And I'm going to show you where some of the skills things go on LinkedIn in just a second. But it's really important to make sure that you're highlighting your skills in both your about section and in that experience section. Now, it's okay to, in bullet points, to put, you know, successfully reached a agreement in a $5 billion dispute with a Fortune 500 company. But if you said you successfully reached it by not only reaching the settlement, but you did it within budget and on time or quicker than the client expected, that's even better. Okay, so just know there are ways that you can tweak your experience to utilize some of these words and that they're really important. So let's go back over here and look at some experience. Right? So as you go down here, and mine, I will tell you, one of the things I noticed on mine is that I need to probably bullet point this some more to make it stand out a little bit more. But I provide law firms with alternatives to traditional law firm consultants. I understand how to create sustainable change. And so I talk about what I do and how I do it. And here are all the things that I have done in this particular at this particular company at Law Strategy Corp. All right. Now you want to make sure that that aligns with this. Okay. It aligns with this. It's not the same as this, but it aligns with this. Okay. So that is important. And again, you can do it in bullet points, however you want to do it. Then you've got your past experience. And so you can see I've put this in first person as well. As a SVC, I worked with the Army and Air National Guard who were victims of sexual assault. I handled a large caseload from across the country. Their unique clients, da-da-da-da-da. All right, then Chief Strategy Officer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the kind of thing that you want. So not just this, which is what a lot of people do. They just put the title and how long they were there and where the company was. You want to add what you did in that particular role. What was your experience there? All right, so that is really, really important. Now, why is activity so important? And I know many of you all desire to be active on LinkedIn, but you feel like you don't have the time to be active on LinkedIn. So I want to make sure that you know how to be active and how to be active in the least amount of time possible, because I know time is of the essence. So activity boosts your searchability. The more active you are on LinkedIn, the more searchable you are. And it also enhances your reputation as long as you stay in your lane. Okay, so if you're a construction lawyer that represents, for example, let's say construction companies that do a certain type of thing, then you might want to talk about what's going on in the trade groups or industries that you're involved in, and hopefully you're involved in some, because that's a great way for you to meet clients. If there's any major construction cases that are going on out there that you could comment on. Obviously, from an ethical standpoint, you can't comment on cases that you're involved in, at least until after they're over and only with the client's permission. But you want to make sure if there are relevant cases from all over the country, you might want to talk about those and write a post about that. You want to be looking at other construction lawyers and what they're posting. You want to be following, for example, the clients that you have so that you can comment on their post. And also you want to be able to stay in touch with other people. So as you're looking at your feed on your LinkedIn, you can actually like and know what other people are doing. So how do you get active? Well, find relevant connections. And we talked about this earlier. You can have a bazillion connections, but if they're not relevant to you and you're not relevant to them, it doesn't really matter. So again, look at your connections. Figure out, are they relevant to you? Sometimes it's a great thing just to look at your connections and say, gosh, I lost track of that person. I need to follow up with them. So sometimes it's a great way just to follow up with them. Make sure that you're following all of your clients, first of all. And so you'll go to their company page on LinkedIn and follow them. And that will enable you to see their feed, their company feed on your LinkedIn feed. All right. And then you can like and comment and kind of in your mind when you're talking to someone from that client, say, hey, I saw that you guys did a great blood drive and collected X amount of stuff. They'll be really impressed that you even know that. Okay. So that's important. The other thing is to follow your competition. And the reason I say that that's important is because for me, when I know what my competition's doing, I either know what I should be doing or something that maybe I don't want to do. So that's important. All right. Follow industry groups. That's also a great way for you to find out what's going on in the industry, and it gives you things that you can repost and share. Get involved in some of the LinkedIn groups. So for example, for me, there's a law practice management group that I'm involved in. Any groups like that, that you think there are other thought leaders within those groups and you want to learn from them and you believe you can contribute, get involved in those groups and comment. It's a great place also for you to pick up connections. Post content that is only valuable to your connections. Don't post random content. But for example, and I just saw this today, somebody posted that there were 18 lawyers in their firm that were named best lawyers. Now, why is that significant? Well, the firm only has 39 lawyers. So, it's a pretty significant thing for them. So, I liked, for example, that particular post. Like people's posts, comment on people's posts, repost relevant content, and then check your notifications at least once a week. So as we think about this, let me show you. How do you hide irrelevant connections? I hear you, Camille. You go to your connections page and on your LinkedIn, and I'll have to show you. I can't remember exactly how to do it. And then Frank, you asked, should we actually be deleting irrelevant connections? I say yes, I delete them altogether. If they're truly going to be irrelevant to me, the answer to that is yes, I delete them, because really they just clutter up my feed. All right, so I think that's important. All right, now, and Camille, let me just see down here on activity, and your activity is one of the first blocks that shows up, everybody. So one of the reasons you want to stay active is because you want to show people that you're actually commenting on their stuff. So as you see my activity, I liked this post from Sam Moses today. I love Sam Moses. He's at Parker Poe. He's a good friend of mine. They did a lot of work with Germany, so I liked his post. This is another friend of mine. So when I talk about staying active, I look at my LinkedIn feed every day. Now, I realize a lot of you guys don't have time to do that. So don't, if you can't do it but once a week, do it once a week. but scroll through this on a daily basis and you will find a lot of stuff. So here's, Rippy's comment. I think Rippy's on this webinar today, and she posted this and I liked what she posted. All right, now up here at the notifications section, this is another thing that you can do to keep yourself active. So this talks about, Nick Lamb, Brian Lamb's son, started a new position as golf pro shop supervisor. All right. So I would say congrats to him. And just say T and hit enter. And here is Karen for 6 years. I'm not going to necessarily comment on every single thing. All right, so here's Katie, and Katie had sent me a message and I sent one back to her. So a lot of people communicate through LinkedIn. I personally don't send happy birthday messages through LinkedIn, but there are some people who do. I don't have my birthday on LinkedIn, not because I don't like my birthday. It's coming up September 17th. I like chocolate. Anyway, so I just want to let you know that, you can put your birthday on here if you want. People who viewed my profile, I can see all of that. So all of these things are important in your activity. Now, let's see, on looking at your how to hide your connections. So if I go over here to my connections, so I go over here, and let's say I don't actually want to hide her, but I can remove the connection. So I will say this, LinkedIn has done a lot with their algorithm. It used to say remove or hide. So it looks like Camille and Frank that right now you can only remove them or hide them. All right, so I do not actually want to remove her as a connection, but but that is one of the things that you can do. So I hope that answers that question. All right, now, when should you post? I can tell you, if you can only get on LinkedIn once a week, and it's all you can do is spend 15 minutes on LinkedIn once a week, and you want to post one thing a week. Here's when you want to post it, in this navy blue part. So Wednesdays between 8 in the morning and 10 o'clock, or you can post on Thursdays between 1 and 2, or Fridays. You can see Saturdays and Sundays are bad days to post. Having said that, I used to post every Saturday morning at a certain time, and I began to get some traction. So some people will say if you post at a certain time, you will get more traction because you can, and I'm trying to look at the chat box here, because you can, people start to look for that kind of stuff on a certain time. All right, so that's important as well. 15 minutes. If you've only got 15 minutes, share one relevant post per week. That's it. That's all I'm going to ask you to do. View your notifications and invitations once per week. That's all I'm going to ask you to do. All right. And then review your feed and and comment on things and like it and share it. All right. And so Bernadette, you asked, during COVID, hasn't the rule changed? And I'm not sure which rule you're talking about, but I will tell you, in COVID, the LinkedIn activity has gone up exponentially, even on the weekends. And I think to some extent, if that's what you're asking, and Bernadette, people are just at home working and they are spending more time on LinkedIn and other forms of social media as well. All right. Now, this particular picture is showing this guy sitting on the couch. And I will tell you, the whole idea for me, I am using this right here, my phone, on LinkedIn. And I will tell you that about 77% of people view LinkedIn on their phone. All right. And your LinkedIn does look a little different on your phone than it does on your computer screen, laptop or PC. So make sure that you're looking at your profile on your phone as well as you're thinking about these things. All right. Now, best practices. Review your profile often. Your profile is a living document, okay? It can be changed anytime. And now that you've turned your settings off, you can change it 6 ways to Sunday, all right? So don't hesitate to make changes. See if you're getting more views, if you tweak your headline statement, for example. If you're going to an industry conference about a certain thing, for example, you want to make sure in your activity you post something super excited about attending this industry conference. For more information or to see the agenda, go here and put the link to the conference. That actually helps with your traction, all right? Take note of people who viewed your profile. I have the Sales Premium. I'm not going to get into why I have it, but it's very valuable to me. I don't think lawyers all necessarily have to have it, but it is interesting to see who's viewed your profile and see how many times and when they viewed it. Get involved in groups. I talked about that already. Once a week, 15 minutes, once a week. If you do one post a week and do a photo with it or a link, which it will attach the photo to it, that's really pretty active on LinkedIn, believe it or not. Add relevant connections each week. And you'll notice on my profile at the top, it said people also viewed. That's also a really good thing for you to take a look at every week. All right. And then use that featured section. All right. So that's important. I see, Bernadette, your chat about Catherine Airwood, and I love Catherine Airwood too. So thank you for putting that in there. All right, update your relevant experience. They say update your bio. I can't tell you how many people I see who just haven't updated their relevant experience. They no longer even practice ERISA law, but it still says they're an ERISA lawyer, for example. Make sure you're updating that kind of information. Your headline statement should really stand out. If it's not, if it just says attorney, I just go on to the next one. Because I don't want an attorney. I want to know why you should be my attorney. What problem are you going to solve for me? And if you can say that concisely in that headline statement in a way that grabs me, then I'm going to keep reading. All right, so that's important. The skills section, and I didn't talk about that a while ago, but if you'll cursor down in LinkedIn, you'll see a skills section, a relative, it says relative skills, I think, or something like that. And you can add skills. If you do not add skills, it adds them for you if you click legal industry. And the very first thing I think it adds is legal writing. Well, most all of us are pretty good legal writers. And it is an interesting thing to put, I mean, legal writing is fine, but if you put, executive coach, if that's what you want to be hired for, or construction litigator, or, boardroom dominator. No, you don't want to put that in there, but you can put, corporate officer, budget analyst, or whatever you want to put in there. You can add skills. It will suggest skills, but you can add skills, but you want your 3 top skills to definitely be the first 3 things listed under skills. All right. So, and the reason that becomes important again is search engine optimization. Search engine optimization. So that's all really important. Now, questions. I saw, Rebecca, you had a question about your picture, your profile picture. Yeah, changing your picture and making sure it's current is important. And again, I can't emphasize enough, you've got that little circle and your head has to fit in that circle. And I see some pictures where the head looks like it's popping out of the circle, or people are so far back. So it's kind of tricky, but you have to kind of align your picture to make sure it looks really good in that circle. All right, any other questions? You can put them in the Q&A down here, or I think you can unmute. Let's see. And ask if you'd like to. Oh. All right, any other questions? All right, let me tell you guys this. If you do have questions, and if, again, you're like me, you're going to get on your LinkedIn profile over the weekend and you're going to look at your LinkedIn profile. What you may do, Susan just asked a question. Where are good places to look for relevant articles? So Susan, in your particular industry, which is more the technology startup industry, I would look at trade journals, digest, law digest about technology, privacy, security, anything that has to do with software licensing, for example, all of that kind of stuff. I do Google alerts. even on past clients that I've worked with and current clients, and all of that's really important. Anissa says, I've tried to change my background while you talked. It was there, now it's gone. You have to refresh. Anissa, if you'll refresh your browser, it usually will reappear. And if it does not reappear, then you have to go back and do it again and make sure you hit save. Okay? Rebecca Brazano asked, what are some good LinkedIn groups? So Rebecca, for you, business litigator, wanting to find corporate clients, I would get in some of the targeted corporate groups that are out there. I would make sure that you're in like the ABA litigation group feed, things like that. Do a search. So for example, you're in New Jersey, you know, there might be even a New Jersey ACC group, Association of Corporate Counsel group. I guarantee you they've got a group on LinkedIn. All right, let's see. Oh, Rippy says, thanks for the good, valuable information. First order of business is to get rid of the molecular picture on my profile. Great, Rippy, I'm glad. That's awesome. All right, Camille, do people get a notification if you do not accept their connection request? No, they do not. So I ignore requests all the time. In fact, you saw the LinkedIn invitation to me, and I always go and look at their profile. And if I don't think I can provide them relevant content or vice versa, I hit ignore, and they do not know. But no, ignore it. And you know, it's no harm, no foul. Oh, New Jersey Women Lawyers Association is fabulous. Bernadette, you need to connect with Rebecca Brazano. So email me and I'll connect the two of you guys. Any other questions? This is great. Oh, Aline, I think the moleculars are an attempt to show how people are networked. Changing your picture shows that you're paying attention. That very well could be. Maybe it is trying to show that people are networked. I haven't ever thought of that, Aileen, so that's a good one. Is there a service we can use remotely to change my picture? Huh. I do not know the answer to that. But there may be. Does anybody else? If anybody else knows the answer to that question, let me know. But Rebecca, if you'll get on the phone with me, if you'll send me a profile picture, and I do this for my clients quite frequently, I can help you with your LinkedIn profile. But I do not know the answer to that off the top of my head. Anybody else have a question? All right. All right. Thank you. All right. Now, I'm going to go on to the very last slide. Now, what I want to make sure that you guys know is that we're going to be doing these Friday at 4 series about once a month, hopefully on the third Friday of every month. If you know anybody who, and a lot of you guys were very gracious in forwarding this email, I do not want to bombard you guys with information because there's a blue million webinars that are out there. And so I'm very aware of that. And I want these to be relevant, obviously, and I want to provide relevant content to you. And I enjoy doing this. So if there are people who you want to get on this email distribution list or you think would benefit from it, please, click and email them. And then they, I will add them, or you forward them even the slide deck from today or the recording, which I can send to each of you guys. You can do that, and I will make sure that you can make sure that they get it that way. And if they want to join this group, they can certainly join the group that way. All right. I've told everybody that's on here, I think I get a registration list of the people who attended today. I'm not going to push out, this PowerPoint to people who did not attend unless they somehow notify me and let me know they would like it. But I will make sure that you get a copy of the presentation. And if your firm would like to have a presentation like this, please don't hesitate to let me know, or your practice group or your in-house counsel group. I'd be happy to do it. Thank you guys so very much. I know it's Friday. Let's see what time it is. We have 6 minutes till 5 o'clock. And so I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. If you do think of questions, again, please don't hesitate to call or shoot me an email and I'll be happy to answer them. Oh, I've got one more thing, two more things in the chat. Hold on. All right. TGIF, Diane Weber says, thanks, T. Fabulous seeing your smiling face. Oh, thank you guys so much. All right. Thank you guys so much and have a great weekend, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.